Good evening. I'd like to call to order the Planning and Development Committee of May 2nd, 2023. First off, any disclosures of pecuniary or non-pecuniary interest? Seeing none, need a mover and seconder for approval of the agenda. Councillor Bradsey, Member Drew. Moved by Councillor Bradsey, second by Member Drew. Resolved that the Planning and Development Committee agenda for May 2nd, 2023 be approved. All in favor? That's carried. So the election of the chair, we need a mover and seconder. Mover and seconder for election of the chair. Moved by Councillor Frake, second by Councillor Bradsey. Moved by Councillor Frake, second by Councillor Bradsey. Resolved that Mayor Jordan be elected as chair of the Planning and Development Committee. All in favor? That's carried. Didn't ask for a recorded vote. Election of vice chair. I need a mover and seconder. And well, actually, yeah, I'll get a mover and seconder, and then we'll see if there's. Yeah, so let's get a mover and seconder. Moved by Member Potter, second by Member Bradsey. All right, now is there anyone that would like to be vice chair? Anyone else like to be vice chair?
Well, volunteer.
No, I've got enough chairs and vice chairs already.
That's unanimous.
Congratulations. We need a vote.
Yeah, I'm going to read the resolution. Moved by Member Potter, second by, well, I think we'll probably get a different seconder than Councillor Bradsey. Just to, Councillor Frake. Just looks a little better. Moved by Member Potter, second by Councillor Frake. Resolved that Councillor Bradsey be elected as Vice Chair of the Planning and Development Committee. All in favor? That's carried. All right, now we're moving to meeting times. Just a mover and seconder to get it on the floor, and then we'll have discussion. Moved by Councillor Bradsey, second by Councillor Frake.
Can I speak first?
Yes. Go ahead, Councillor Frake.
I'm just going to make a couple of comments. I'm available any hour of the day. I prefer we do as many meetings as we can during the day to accommodate staff. I mean, I know staff is here every night for most of our meetings anyway, so I would be happy to see the meetings happening at mid-afternoon, for example, 3 o'clock. I saw 3 o'clock out there. But then I'm more flexible than most other people probably, I don't know. And so, I mean, I welcome to hear from anyone else who might feel differently about that, but I'm good for during the day, and it gives staff a chance to go home at a decent hour. So, anyway, so I'm suggesting 3 o'clock.
Any other? Member Potter.
Thank you. I due respect, I understand that. Unfortunately, I can't, I have a day job, if you like. So 4:30 is my earliest at this time. I know it conflicts with what you just said about the, yeah. No, I just think consideration for the staff as well.
Member Drew.
Personally, I have flexibility, even if it could be moved slightly earlier is fine as well, but I have full flexibility as well.
4:30 is the worst.
All right, well, and Councillor Bradsey, I think, will have trouble making 4:30, so.
5:30 work for me. Split the difference, go 5. So over.
Are you okay for 5? I just want to make
I'm
sure.
okay with 5.
All right, so it looks like we have a consensus of 5 p.m. Watch, then I'll be late. Moved by Councillor Bradsey, second by Councillor Frake. Resolved that Planning and Development Committee meet at 5 p.m. moving forward. All in favor? That's carried. All right, need a mover and seconder for the consent item.
Before we get there, can I?
Yes, go ahead, Councillor
So,
Frake.
Mr. Chair, what about the frequency of meetings? Are we going to be meeting once a month or as needed, or how is that going to work?
Katie?
Through you, Mr. Mayor, the calendar that was approved by council has the Planning and Development Committee meeting twice a month. Yeah.
Okay, days?
So it fluctuates. The meeting today is May 2nd, the next meeting is May 17th.
Okay,
So it's it isn't always going to be the same, the first Tuesday and the third Wednesday or anything like that. It kind of shifts as there's holidays, things like that. It kind of has to get staggered over
Because
one.
Yeah, because we're like with council, we meet the first and third Monday of every month, shifting to Tuesdays if Monday's a holiday. So can we agree on a day every other week and then shift to one of the other days if there's a holiday involved or something like that, so that we can at least line our calendar? Because there's so many committee meetings and so many meetings we go to. So if we can put that in place now, that we decide on a day, is it every second day, every second Wednesday, every second week, is it, or?
So looking at the calendar we have, because there's Committee of Adjustment, for example, meets May 16th, and then we have
Right.
Council the 15th. So there's other advisory committees, the Heritage meetings, the Historical Society, for example, meets here as well on Wednesdays. It it fluctuates sometimes, but it's usually the first and third. It's looking like the first and third, whether it's a Tuesday and a Wednesday of every month, unless there's, actually unless there's a holiday, for example, like in September, there's Labor Day, so everything gets pushed back another day. So, but that was the calendar that was approved by council.
So can we go with every other Tuesday? 2 Tuesdays a month and then shift it if we have to? Because-
So Committee of Adjustment, for example, has already been meeting the third Tuesday of every month. So with the Planning Committee meeting the first Tuesday of every month, typically, the other Tuesday there, the Committee of Adjustments meeting, and those have already been set up.
So, and the reason why we can't do them both at the same time is because
They're live
working
streamed
out
in
of the
here,
chambers.
so they need to be in council chambers, yes.
Okay,
Given the fact that our next meeting is May 17th, I know that at 5:30 there is a conflict because it's the opening of the Southward Southward Park Hardball Diamond at 5:30. So,
So would the 18th work? Because that looks like it's open.
days.
Because-
18th is a Thursday. Oh, you have regional.
yeah,
Standing committees.
Well, we could move it to later after, it's just basically opening for the baseball game,
Okay.
right? So we could move it probably even to 6.
Okay.
I think that because we're the first to meet as a standing committee, we have squatters' rights.
So Walter, you're okay with that? Like, if we moved it to 6 that night?
Of course, yeah. If there's a conflict and we can't get quorum, let's say, it's important that. But the other important thing is the days that the planning committee meetings are set. We can't really move them to like a Wednesday or like randomly because there are so many other committees, and it was very, very difficult to arrange for every committee to be able to meet. We have scheduled 2 meetings a month, but it will be basically as required. So if there isn't any business, then there won't be a meeting, but we'll let you know in advance. But we just have those placeholders for twice a month, mostly Tuesdays and Wednesdays. I think there's 1 or 2 Thursdays where the meetings had to be pushed to because of various circumstances associated with other committees or other commitments, so.
No, I'm just concerned because if every committee is going to have this conversation, no committee is going to have any type of standard meetings every month. I mean, we're all going to be trying to shifting our meetings around to accommodate the other committee. So we got to start somewhere. Am I
Katie's gonna...
Am I making any sense here?
Katie's going to make more sense.
Through you, Mayor Jordan, when the clerk and I were kind of working this schedule out, we tried to make it as consistent as possible. Planning was a little bit difficult because we're doing the 2 meetings a month, but overall, it's looking like, unless there's a random holiday on the Monday and things get pushed that day, every committee's sort of meeting the same day every month. It's just planning that's a little bit harder to move around with that second meeting.
Can we pick at least one day where we can?
Oh, sorry.
Sorry, can we pick at least one day where we have a standard in place?
It is the first Tuesday.
All right. I don't want to flog a dead horse here, so anyways, okay, all right.
Member Potter?
Just some clarity, because while you were talking there, you flagged about that, the time on the 17th, is that now shifted to the 6 o'clock? Because we just voted on 5, so.
Given the fact that all of council has been invited to
Yeah,
that
yes,
at
that's fine.
5:30.
I just want to make sure, because we just voted on the 5 o'clock, and it would require a change. So.
Yeah. Sarah?
Through you, Mr. Mayor. So under procedural bylaw, we do have to provide notification of any time changes. So all that will be circulated to you prior through your email, and will be notified to the public through our agenda publishing of any time changes.
All right, for the consent report, does anyone have any questions? We have a mover and seconder. We do have a mover and seconder. I got them already, so we're okay. So no questions for Matt, so. All right, moved by Councillor Bradzi, second by Councillor Frank. Resolved that the Planning and Development Committee hereby approves the following items, that the various consent items be approved on the recommendation. There's only one, but as contained therein. Building 23-01, that report, BLDG 23-01, Building Department Activity Report dated May 2nd, 2023, be received for information. All in favor? That's carried. And the next meeting, now Sarah, if this next meeting is changed, should I put the wrong time in first, or?
Through you, Mr. Mayor, if we're confirming a time change right now, I would pass a resolution that the next meeting is, just for the next meeting, it's at 6 PM.
Okay.
And once that resolution is passed, I think you can change your next meeting
All right.
update.
All right, so we can just pass that resolution. So we just need a mover and seconder for the resolution to change it. Member Drew moved, Councillor Bradzi second. And the resolution would be
Resolved that the next Planning and Development Committee meeting
is scheduled
for May 17th at 6 o'clock PM.
All right. So moved by Member Drew, second by Councillor Bradzi. Resolved that the next Planning and Development Committee meeting is scheduled for 6 PM on May 17th. All in favor? That's carried. And now I can say that the next meeting, the next Planning and Development Committee meeting is scheduled May 17th, 2023 at 6 PM. That was a short one. Meeting is adjourned. Everyone have a good night. Thank you.